we back. I never knew there were two different types of Muay Thai. I just thought it was just the one that that John was showing, like the one that you showed John. Like, I didn't know.
Right. He did a lot of training with a guy named Kansak too. Kansak showed him a lot more of the basic Muay Thai. I mean, there's Muay Thai is from Thailand, obviously, and there are different schools and maybe variations of teaching. Some of the stuff I uh, implement, some I don't. There's some different rules and regulations that, if you look at um, traditional boxing,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see some Muay Thai fighters do stuff that I personally think could be a mistake or could be improved on or whatever the case is. But that's with just about everything. But like I said, I keep studying it. But I think there's some things that they do that I personally don't agree with that particular application or whatever the case is as far as technical skill. And I'll always tell somebody why. You know what I mean? So that's not a problem. Well, why not this? Why not that? Because no matter what you do, there's nothing you do that's 100%. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you have a gun. A gun can misfire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's nothing that, oh, this is unbeatable. Nobody will ever block this. Or, if you use this block, you'll never get hit. That's a bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every fighter in the world, the best fighters in the world have been hit, whether it's in sparring, or in a fight or whatever the case is. Nobody's ever gone out and made a guy miss, 500 punches and you crack him every time. It's not ever
Mm-hmm.
happened in the entire world. But yeah, there's different styles. Like I said, you got the Muay Brawn and you get the Kyokushin, whether it's the Japanese version, the Burmese version, the Thai version. Savat is the French version. Um, kind of like the Muay Thai where they do the leg kicks and all the other stuff. And they've got some stuff too where um, it wouldn't work for me. The other reason I do learn some of the stuff, whether it's Muay Thai or whatever, is because there may be some technical skills that may not work for me based on my build or my size or whatever the case is, but it may work for one of my students. I mean, so I always keep an open mind, and I can't just go, well, I don't like that, I don't use it. But that's great. Everybody learns it. You know, it's not a matter of learning the technique; it's a matter of learning how to apply the technique. So learning the technique is completely different than understanding the technique. Okay, well, if I'm slipping here, if I'm weaving here, well, what am I weaving? You got to know what you're defending against. I mean, so a lot of people get in, and you'll see them in the mirror, and they're moving their hands, and they're moving their head, and, footwork or whatever. Well, why are you doing it? So everything you do has to have a purpose. I mean, even if you're firing a jab. If I'm firing a jab out there, what's my purpose? Is it to hit him? Is it to just come close and blind them? Is it to get them to cover? Is it to get them to block? Is it to get them to move their head? That's what they call an educated jab. And it's with any technique. You're firing something so you get a response from them, and then you kind of build it. It's like a chess game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting your pieces out there, and you're going to put this over here to see how they react or where they move. So everybody's moving for position.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of little aspects that some instructors don't teach. They just teach the physical aspect. And if you're gifted with size and strength and power and all that other stuff, and you can roll over most people based on that, you run up against somebody bigger or stronger than you or faster than you got a problem because it's always been a physical game, not a game of timing and accuracy and technical skill, that type of thing. So technique is always primary. That's always the first thing. But understanding not only what you're doing and how you're doing it, but why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why am I firing a jab this way with an orthodox fighter versus this way against a southpaw?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the technical skill is there. The application, or what they call tactic. How do I best apply this technique with this opponent? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing. So, but yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds of styles out there. Some are very good and geared more towards self-defense, not kickboxing. And then you got some fighters that are kickboxers that are geared more toward just stand up in American style. Everything's above the waist, not leg kicks. And everything's got its niche. Everything's got its niche.
So explain to people, like, cause Muay Thai, that's it pretty much took America, by storm.
Right.
And you do kickboxing, so people, I don't think, but people they don't know the difference between kickboxing and Muay Thai. I know the difference, but people don't. Like,
Right.
I understand the difference between the two because I train with you. So
Right.
explain the difference between like those two styles of fighting.
Well,
Like,
you're basically, as far as the American kickboxing style, everything was above the belt. So they didn't really fire leg kicks and that type of thing. They kept it more along the lines of boxing, where punches are head and body, kicks were head and body. Muay Thai applies a lot more of its application toward the leg kicks, which even when you talk to some of the Burmese fighters or Lethway, when you look at boxing, they'll tell you that 80% of your strikes are going to the head, probably 20% to the body.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at something like Lethway, or the Bando fighters, usually about 70% of your kicks go here, 20% here, 10% here,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to break down your base.
Mm-hmm.
Once you kill that foundation, it kills your mobility.
Mm-hmm.
You got no mobility, you've got no speed, no power, no balance, or anything else. So they have that um, thought process of break down the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why, to me, which I agree with, footwork is premier in almost anything you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you can't move defensively, you can't block, you can't get out of the way. If you can't move offensively, I can't close the gap and get into my opponent as quick as I need to, and then turn, or whatever the case is. So, footwork and positioning and balance are premier.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of your techniques fall into place. But that's primarily it. Is that American kickboxing style is above the belt. Muay Thai is all of it. You'll get legs, you'll get here, and in American style, you didn't fire knees and elbows.
Mm-hmm.
So everything had its place. With my teacher, we did all of it. I mean, so there was headbutts, there was elbows, there was knees to the legs, knees to the body, knees to the head, clinches, elbow strikes, all kind of different variations, which is what I like. It's a lot more well-rounded,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more street applicable too,
Yeah, yeah.
as far as self-defense is concerned. You may be injured, and there's times that your element. I mean, if you're standing on ice, you're not going to be trying to kick somebody in the head. You're going to be sliding all over the place. You know what I mean? So a low kick and maybe even a sweep because they're on ice makes it a lot more effective.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing your element and your surroundings, your environment, would be key as well. It's like some of the guys that ground fight. Some people go to the ground and they just go right to a submission and they abandon striking. Um, when we first taught martial arts, it was if you get knocked to the ground, get back up. Why? Well, if me and you were tussling on the ground and your buddy's over here, I got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because now me and you are all tied up, I'm going to get my head stomped or kicked in. Or if you're carrying a weapon, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you reach in your back pocket and all of a sudden you're shanking me while I'm trying to, choke you or keep you tied up and not back to my feet. And you're rolling around in asphalt, you're not on a mat. I like the sport aspect of it. And I appreciate the sport aspect of it and respect it. That's not what I want to do. Because what I want to do is more geared toward combat or self-defense. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's a lot of time, a lot of work. There's thousands of different techniques. The technical skill is at a different level too. It's really up there.
Mm-hmm.
With all the different aspects that you learn,
Mm-hmm.
it's got a lot of real technical aspects to the art, which is cool.
Yeah, 'cause it seems like, especially nowadays, everybody, like you said, like you're right, like the technique, that's the foundation of it. A lot of guys, from what I've seen, like they don't really have, they just I guess do like the whole like this grab you, throw you on the ground, try to punch you in the face versus
Yeah.
trying to figure out, like you said, trying to like you said, like play chess with them. They just want to.
Yep. Well, at that point in time, it becomes, like I said a little while ago, who's physically bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
Okay? Or you get the people that come in and say, I want to box. They get in front of a heavy bag and they just want to kill the bag with every single punch, every single kick, every single knee. It's like, no, not every technique is power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Sometimes you got to use speed to set the power up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's not always just going in and slugging away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot don't. But a lot of that's going to come. You got some of these guys that are hard-headed fighters and you're trying to coach them and they're doing their own thing, or while you're watching them good, you walk away, they're back to doing what they want to do anyway. But anybody can get in and just put a glove on and swing as hard as they can in the bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen people do that and hurt themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By not throwing proper technique, their timing's off, their distance is off, or whatever. I had a kid do that a long, long time ago. Trained at another school for about 2 years. Came in warming up. So like my first class, he was warming up. We weren't in there 3-4 minutes working on bags. And I made him shift bags. Each bag I used in my school was a different weight.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have a 200-pounder, 150-pounder, 80-pounder, and we'd move it around. So everybody, one would move more than the other. And I mean, weren't going more than maybe half speed because it was a warm-up. Threw his technique incorrectly, broke his own arm on a bag. So the timing of the bag swinging,
Yeah.
and he fired the punch and locked his arm. And once he locked his arm, the bag hit his fist, snapped his arm right here.
Mm.
First day in, he wasn't in class 3-4 minutes. I think we did a 3-minute round, minute rest. We shifted to the next bag, and boom. I saw him. Ow! I thought he hurt his elbow. And I said, what happened? He said, arm hurts. I picked his arm up like that, and then went just click right back in place. I said, dude, so wrapped it up, called his mom, right to the hospital. He was out for about 2 months. But that's how, and anybody can make a mistake, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, when you're going that slow, and it's just literally a warm-up, and everything's about just pushing punches or kicks or whatever the case is, your timing's off. Timing's off, and that's what happened. Locked his arm, got hit, and good kid. He came back to, ended up training for a while. Good kid. He worked right on through that. But that's why technique is number one. Timing, accuracy. Don't worry about always slugging the bag. Because there are people that'll snap and hyperextend an elbow or hyperextend the knee because they missed the bag or the timing is off or they hit their thumb or whatever the case is and they hurt their shoulder. Just like I said, improper technique and trying to muscle everything.
So say somebody like, because I've seen it like you have to countless times like somebody will come in and say, oh, I trained over here, and they try to bring what they learned over there to our environment, and like you said, it never works out to, especially like the way you train people, like it's complete opposite of what they learned,
right?
And they still try to force what they learned, into our class,
right?
So how do you handle somebody like that? Like, do you pull them to the side and talk to them, or you just let them just.
No, nobody's running my class and nobody's doing their own thing. If you're coming in and you're drilling, because if I've got 6 people over here doing a drill and they're working with each other, and then we switch partners, he's going to mess everybody else up. Because this guy's going to be expecting one thing, and his opponent's going to be doing something different. Like, no, that's not what we're doing. So it doesn't hurt anybody but the guy that comes in with a closed mind. I always tell everybody, come in with an open mind. There's always, like you said earlier, there's always more than one way to do something. There's never, this is the best way, or this is the only way. There is no such thing as the best or the only. You have too many different styles of fighters. Now, this may be the best way against him. This may be the best way against him. This may be the best way against him, because you got 3 different styles, 3 different types of fighters. And when people do come in and say, look, I'm not trying to change what you do. I don't change anything. All I want to do is add to what you've already got. I'm not saying stop doing this. I'm not saying it can't be your favorite technique anymore or anything like that. I'm not doing that. All I'm saying is come in with an open mind, try what we're doing, and you're not going to get comfortable with it overnight. It's not going to happen. I've got guys that come in and they've trained in something for years, and they've always said it's harder to take somebody that has an ingrained habit and break that habit and add to it than teach somebody who's from a beginner. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we'll come in and me and you, and then maybe you're 6'1", somebody else is 6'3", somebody else is 6 whatever, 6'8". You're going to learn the same technical skill, but everybody's going to use that. Like I said, the tactic is how do you use it. It's going to be different. But you can't just have, always just going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I teach too many different aspects to fighting. I mean, I don't just teach the mechanical aspect. Like I said, there's rhythm, there's timing. I mean, there's tempo. There's all the different things that you want to learn to fluctuate and use against an opponent. I mean, there's drawing, there's defensive tactics. React and respond drills. There's speed, there's power, there's angles. I mean,
that's what I tell people all the time. Like when people talk about sports, and they talk about like football or just any sport, and I say you don't understand something how much you have to learn to be a fighter. I said it's way more than what y'all see on TV. I said you don't see what goes on behind the scenes of the mental conditioning, everything that comes along with, like you said, technique. Like you might plant your foot wrong, and you'll get on like, no, Ray, your foot's supposed to go right that way. But that little thing with my foot changes everything about that kick, that punch. People understand that, like how much just a little tweak can change, everything. They don't understand the aspect. I said you don't have the foggiest idea how much you got to put into that. They don't understand that because they're not in that world. And people, basketball. I said, you understand something. When you're a fighter, you got to depend on yourself. You can't depend on the next man to pick up your slack because you you have a bad day, your teammate can pick up. You got a bad day in boxing or fighting, you will be there on the canvas, point blank period. Like you always got to be in A game. In that world, like that right there is the ultimate sport. Is any kind of combat sport. There's nothing that tops that as far as like sports go because it's all in that one person, you know, and the people that surround him, the trainers and everything like that, that you know, that's helping that man get to be the best, woman to be the best they can. Whereas it's like I said, any team sport, you can just lean on your team if you're having a bad day. I said,
Yeah, where you can blame him if something happens.
Exactly.
Well, he lost
Yeah.
because wrestling 1-on-1. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Boxing 1-on-1. Kickboxing 1-on-1. I mean, so you're out there. You're on your own. I mean, you can't blame a teammate for losing something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that wrestling is a great aspect. Good sport.
Mm-hmm.
Good sport. But when it comes to some of the other things, one of the things that most people don't have is patience.
Yeah.
See, people don't realize, oh, this guy's a good tennis player, good golfer, good bowler, whatever. Well, the tennis player has served that ball 10,000 times before they got it where they can just, 9 out of 10 times put it where they want it. That bowler has thrown that ball hundreds of thousands of times before he's getting strike after strike after strike. Football players, whether they're kicking field goals all day. I mean, soccer players, whatever. It's not something you go in, you do it a couple times, and okay, well, no, you're not good enough. And even the best fighters in the world, they don't just win a fight, go home and go, okay, next. No, you're still polishing your technique. You're still keeping yourself in tune and toned up, timing, rhythm, whatever the case is, whatever the drills that got you there. So there is nothing. To this day, I could get in, I could get on a bag and work just my hook punch for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We're straight right. You know what I mean? Or fake my right hand and throw a kick, whatever. I can take stuff and just do it over and over and over and over. You're never too good to just not be able to polish the technique a little bit better, whether it's speed, helps my speed, or do a drill to help my initial movement, or do a drill to help my power, or do a drill to help my deceptiveness, whatever the case is. There's always something to do. But you're not going to just do it a couple times. Oh, I got it. No, you don't got it. You have the movement, you see it, and you're copying a mechanical move, but I can still see your timing's off. You're dropping your right when you're throwing your hook. You're throwing your hook, you're turning your head. I mean, you're throwing your hook, you're using an arm, you didn't use the hip, whatever. There's so many little tiny details, like you said a little while ago. One little detail makes a big difference in a lot of different things.
I remember one time we were, I think we were not sparring. We was in a bag. You made us do. I think it was like a hook. I forget what it was, but you made us do it for like 15 minutes straight because you wanted us to have the proper technique with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cussing you out of my hair. I was like, oh my god, like I understood why you were doing it though,
right.
But I was still mad because like we were doing the same thing like repetitive. I'm like, oh man, like this is bullshit, man. But I understood why we had to do it. And like you said, I don't think people they don't understand, especially if you're not, a fighter that, like I said before, just the little tweaks change, everything. Like they don't understand just that turn of the hip, that pivot of the foot, the rolling of your, the punch and stuff like that. It's like it changes everything. And if you're not in it, you will never understand it. And I guess it goes for every sport too. Like
and it does because it's like I said, I don't care if it's golf. If you're hitting a drive, you know what I mean. If you don't pivot that back foot, shift your hips, snap your wrist at the right time, you're gonna slice the ball, dribble the ball. I mean, whether pop it up in the air, whatever the case may be. So yeah. And the other thing that a lot of people don't do, if you watch a lot of them mechanically, they'll move an arm. You don't see them really synchronize their hands and feet. You know what I mean? So they may just raw throw a punch. Maybe some people have some raw power because they're big or they're strong or whatever, but they could get a lot more out of it if they would learn to use the entire body. When you're punching, it's your ankles, your knees, your hips, your torso. I mean, it's not just so when you time your technique, instead of just like you said, walking up, stopping in front of the bag and hitting, well, you just lost power. Why? Because you didn't step in, you didn't put your body weight into the technique. So it's huge. That's what we were talking about earlier. It's a big difference in understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it, not just how to do it. Because there's people that they make that. There's what they call a disconnect. Step and punch. Or they punch, then they step. You know what I mean? So they're not timing the footwork and handwork together to maximize the effectiveness and efficiency for the kick or punch.